This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
In a world where overspending, debt, and keeping up with the Joneses rules us all, where the voices from the merchants, restaurants, and credit companies lord over the common man. Out of the darkness, like a beacon of hope, comes a new voice. A voice that's rich and creamy, like your favorite butter, and delicious, like cheeseburger pizza on your diet cheat day. It's the Stacking Benjamin Show.
From the basement of the YouTube headquarters, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and in the spirit of those fashion shows displaying what's hot for the new year, we thought we'd do the same for personal finance. Consider this your personal finance fashionista episode. What was so 2025 that we highly recommend you trash in your financial plan? What hotness should you add to your game in 2026? Our panel will share. But that's not all, of course. I'll also swoop in halfway to help our team kick off the new year-long trivia challenge. Can Jesse hang on to his shiny new crown? Can OG reclaim his title? Is it finally the year of Paula's big trivia win? I mean, maybe, probably not. We'll get the first clues today. And now a guy who wants you to grab a high-yield savings account because that's so 2026. It's Joe Saul-Sehy.
High-yield savings account, good start for 2026. Hey, everybody, I am Joe Saul-Sehy. Thank you for the intro, Mr. Doug. How are you, man?
Sorry, man. I almost made it through without laughing. We write those scripts with the best of intentions. And I like when we had it, I'm like, yeah, I can get through this. And nope, failed.
This could be Paula's year. It could be Paula's year.
Yeah. And monkeys could fly out of your butt.
Guys, this is going to be a fantastic episode because we have a roundtable together for the first time this year. Of course, we had our Magic 8-Ball episode last week. And now we kick off. It's like, I feel like we're kicking off a new football season or whatever sport you like or thing that you like. It's a brand new day. The slate is clean and everybody can win. That's at the halfway point, but we're going to surround it, Doug, of course, with a great episode today talking about all the 2026 fashion. You look fashionable. What's on your t-shirt?
I got my favorite Canadian t-shirt on.
Look at that.
My Canadian Superman shirt.
Okay, there.
Don't you know?
You know how Canadian people love it when we do the cultural appropriation.
Sorry for interrupting.
Hey, and a guy who is ready to start off a new year because he wants to reclaim his title across the card table from me, Mr. OG's here. How are you, man? You all rested up, ready to go?
Yeah, I literally woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, so
perfect.
It's just,
Perfect.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
I wonder if we had DraftKings, like what the over-under would be on OG's points this year, or what would the line be, Doug, on an OG win for this year-long trivia competition?
Does he get cheated out of it like the previous year? I mean,
it started already.
What rules do we change halfway through to make sure it's like, it's got to be exciting. You can't be up by 35.
Why don't we meet, Doug, the current champion, the reigning champion.
The
guy who grasped
it. I still have to mail him
out
his
of
trophy. Although I did somewhat write his name on it already. It's hard to see, but I definitely wrote Jesse.
Does that say Jesse?
It does. It's just said OG so long that it's almost carved in there.
This is going to be the gag of 2026. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll get the trophy. I'm taking it to the post office this weekend, Jesse.
You know, no, November, Jesse, it comes to your house. It's coming to your place. Happy New Year, Jesse Kramer.
Happy New Year, guys. Very happy New Year. I think, OG, I was thinking of a day in the life. I woke up, got out of bed, dragged a comb across my head. That's the Beatles. Is that the one you were talking about?
No, something about a submarine or something, waking up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm not sure.
Got it.
He
Got
doesn't
it.
know. He's got no idea. You know who definitely knows it because it's a pop culture reference, and she's back. And this, Doug, this could be her year. There was no need to laugh. Paula Pant from Afford Anything's here.
Well, I do know the Beatles submarine song. I got that one. I can even tell you what color it is if anyone were to inquire.
Chartreuse.
Orange. It's an orange submarine.
Doug's living in a yellow submarine today, isn't he?
Yeah, he
No,
really is.
He's been in Florida for 11 hours and is completely burned. That's just his natural color now. Sunscreen, who needs it?
As you could tell, Stackers, the team started off on the right foot. You know, guys, it is fashion season. I know OG knows that. It was telling me earlier backstage.
Yeah.
We got to be ready for
fashionable
the
in my
fashion weeks.
hoodies.
Fashion week going on this week in Florence, starting up next week in Paris, men's fashion week in Paris next week. So I thought,
I'll be there.
because all the fashionable stuff happening in January, and this show is all about fashion. I mean, look at us. Doug's in his best Canadian t-shirt. I've got my grandpa, Mr. Rogers sweater on, and Jesse, you're dressed. You've got
Mine actually has buttons.
And then Paula wearing that
Yeah.
stuff from that same sponsor that she's in love with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Quince. I'm head to toe, shirt,
Yes.
pants, even socks. So literally head to toe.
That is the new thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all under the tree this year for us.
Nice.
Well, we've got a fantastic show. We're going to talk about what's out, what fashionable, what was so 2025 that we got to dump it so we can get cool financial habits in 2026. The team is ready with theirs. What are yours? Come join us. If you're somebody who is watching us live on YouTube, share with us yours. What are some 2025 things we need to kick to the curb and replace it with good 2026 habits? We got all that coming up in just a second, but we got a couple sponsors that keep on keeping on so that you don't pay a dime for any of this. The Stacky Benjamin Show, always free, Doug, and still worth every penny. Just amazing. We're going to hear from those sponsors right now. And then the team and Fashion Week on the Stacking Benjamin Show. Spring cleaning's made its way to my closet. This time of year always makes me rethink exactly what's in my closet. Really want to keep fewer things, but I also want to keep better ones. I want to feel confident, and to feel confident, looking the part's a big piece of that. So I want pieces that are well made and that are easy to wear all the time. And that's why I keep coming back to Quince. The fabrics feel elevated. The fits are thoughtful. Pricing actually makes sense. As I'm swapping out and I'm cutting, the few additions I'm making all come from Quince. Quince makes high-quality, everyday essentials using premium materials like 100% European linen. They're insanely soft, flow-knit activewear fabric. Their men's linen pants and shirts are lightweight. They're breathable. They're comfortable. Basically, the perfect layer for spring. The pants strike the right balance between laid back and refined. If you saw the video of me on stage at Retire Meet, those pants are from Quince. It was really cool. I came off stage and Christine Benz from Morningstar getting ready to go on behind me and said, "Love your pants." Not generally. I absolutely love them. I think they make me look put together without trying too hard. And they're flow-knit activewear, moisture wicking, anti-odor, soft enough that you'll actually want to wear it all day. The best part is their prices. This is important, Stackers. They are 50 to 60% less than similar brands. How? Quince works directly with ethical factories, cuts out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality, not brand markup. Everything's designed to last and make getting dressed easy, which is another thing I think we all want. I love those pants that I wore on stage. It's the cashmere sweater that every time I wear it, Cheryl goes, "That is my favorite sweater on you." It looks great, feels great, and I don't have to have 50 things in my closet. So, like I am, refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/SB for free shipping and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. Go to quince.com/SB for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/SB. You may not know that when we started Stacking Benjamins, it was a blog. And even then, just the startup cost, I remember thinking, is this the right thing? And what if I write things and nobody comes, right? Well, luckily, that didn't end up happening. But starting something new isn't just hard. It's terrifying. There's so much work. You're not sure whether it's going to work out. You're not sure if anybody's going to read it. And then we change it to a podcast. Is anybody actually going to listen, right? What if nobody wants all the stuff that we have? Well, had I used Shopify, it would have been even easier, because with their expertise, their helpful tools, and their easy to use platform, that's something that would have made Stacking Benjamins more effective much, much more quickly. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Names you've heard of like Heinz and Mattel, Shopify, Gymshark, Aviator Nation, Allbirds, also all Shopify. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. And did I mention that iconic purple Shop Pay button? It's used by millions of businesses around the world. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. It also helps boost conversions, meaning less carts going abandoned and more sales for you. So you're stacking Benjamins much more quickly. Time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/SB. Go to shopify.com/SB. That's shopify.com/SB. All right, let's kick off this discussion, Paula, with you. 2025. What was a fashionable thing in 2025 that we need to kick to the curb this year and then replace it with something cool in 2026?
So I'd say the fashionable thing was chasing the much maligned, much ignored asset class that suddenly became hot in 2025. I'm talking about international equities.
Are you saying now we got to dump international? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying chasing performance.
Oh, chasing?
Chasing performance. Pre-2025, everyone was like, man, why do we need international? It's underperforming. It's, so there was this idea that you could put all of your money into U.S. stocks, particularly U.S. large caps, and just hold that one asset class and you're good. And then 2025 comes around and boom, international is the big player. They're the big outperformer. And so a lot of people who had previously been saying we can ignore it suddenly started chasing it. And I mean, so it's good that they're getting diversification, but it's the right decision for the wrong reason.
In just a second, we're going to ask you what you replace that with in 2026. But you know what? It's not just international, OG. I mean, you as always, big fan of gold. And gold went through the roof in 2025. And you've been all about like chasing gold returns, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I saw a thing the other day that said that that the U.S., maybe it was just the S&P, I don't know, whatever, the U.S. market was actually last in our ranking of a pretty decent amount of developed countries' returns, and we still did pretty good, right? 17% in the S&P. But Paul is right. The thing about diversification is, by the time you figure out that you should have had something in an asset class, if you don't already have it, it's already made the headlines. It's already, I don't want to say too late, but you missed the big opportunity. And the easiest thing to do is just to pick your asset allocation, rebalance it once a year. Now's a good time, beginning part of the year, good as time as any, and then just be done with it. I saw this commercial for online investment company with, I don't know, some football player. Anyway, it said that he doesn't have to worry about his money because it's automatically rebalanced. And that's when it shows him cooking and making cakes and like doing all this other sort of stuff. And I was like, that's how your money should be. You should spend a little bit of attention to it, and again, now is as good a time as any from an investment standpoint at the beginning of the year, rebalance it, and then just be okay with what's going to happen in the short run. Because in the long run, you'll be fine.
Jesse, Paula mentioned international. OG, big fan of gold, like we just heard.
Yeah.
They didn't say anything about crypto, and I know you're thinking about rebranding Personal Finance for Long-Term Investors, the All Crypto All the Time podcast. With Bitcoin down at the beginning of the year, I mean, don't you think it's a great time to chase that?
Well, you're a couple versions old on the name, because the new name that Doug and I have been toying around with is Don't Be an Idiot, Invest in Meme Coins podcast. Which, if you think of the acronym, it does roll right off the tongue. Picking the hot tech stocks, right? Crypto, it's all the same. And it's all this idea of chasing the hotness, chasing returns. It's borderline like gambling in some ways, where you're like, well, I heard a story of someone who made a bunch of money this way, and I'm going to go push that same button.
Right.
And see, I was under the assumption, Joe, I thought we had to think like fashion designers. So I wrote, picking hot tech stocks, and instead of doing that, diversifying for the long run. It might appear like that pair of nylon bell bottoms that you've had since the 70s, Joe, but instead it's much more like that pair of old Levi's that still grabs your ass in all the best ways.
Oh my God. Joe's catching strays and he hasn't said a word.
He's got a nice pair of Levi's.
But I do have to say that my Levi's grab my ass in all the right places. I will say
That's
that.
right.
Those are your own hands, Joe.
Every time I pass a mirror, I
Joe's
just kinda...
Levi's have the word juicy bedazzled on the bottom.
Apple bottom Levi's.
I think I just threw up in my own mouth. Yeah. Paula, if that's 2025, chasing international, chasing meme coins, chasing gold, what do we do instead? What's 2026? What's the hot thing for the Stacking Benjamins fashionistas?
Absent of looking at recent performance, pick your asset allocation, write it down, rebalance your portfolio into it, and then, like OG said, forget about it. Joe, you've talked about the efficient frontier. Pick something along the efficient frontier, or pick Paul Merriman's 4-fund portfolio or 8-fund portfolio, and then just run with it.
There it is. OG, like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Jesse?
I'm a big fan of you shouldn't be flip-flopping asset allocation all the time at all. So I'm in favor of that fashion.
Well, there's our 2026 fashion. Jesse, we've got you front and center. Let's have your first. What was 2025? What's the thing that we got to kick to the curb that was so last year?
So I don't know if this was 2025 specific, but some of my fashion trends are almost decadal in nature, Joe. They're long-term. So I feel like not reviewing your tax return is such a passé 2025 thing. That said, taxes will never be in vogue, kind of like Doug's fedora. It's never going to be in vogue.
Dude,
but
fight me on
unlike
this.
Doug's fedora, I know. You'll look back on your fedora in a few years, Doug, and you will say, OMG, what was I ever thinking? I think if our stackers look back on some tax review and tax planning in 10 years, they'll look backwards and say, OMG, I was such a smart diva.
Not paying any attention to taxes was so 2025. You agree with that, Paula?
I think it's evergreen. Like Jesse, and taxes are never going to be in vogue. So no one ever really pays a lot of attention unless you're like super nerd.
But you don't think this is the year that should be more in vogue? Because that's where he's headed next is, hey.
I think it's like eating broccoli. It is always a good idea. Or flossing, right? Always a good idea. But let's see if it happens.
Listen, guys, this is a fashion podcast. We had a big, beautiful bill last summer. Beautiful. It could have been called the FFF, the frickin' fashion. I don't know. What's an F word that had finance bill? But if there's ever a reason to look at your taxes after such a big, beautiful event, it's got to be now. Triple B.
Oh, gee, you talked about at the start of the year. It's a good time to rebalance your portfolio. Good time to look at your tax strategy.
Well, there's not a lot that you can do for 2025, but obviously at the beginning of 26, there's lots of stuff that you can do. And when it comes to taxes, I think a couple of things that I would do right away, which is I would make sure that all of my contributions are set up the way that I want them to be. All the numbers changed for 2026. Your employer contributions changed, maximum HSAs, dependent care reimbursement accounts had a huge increase last year. first time since 1990 or something. It hasn't moved in
Forever.
a generation.
Yeah.
So all of those things have changed. And if you haven't paid attention to it yet, you're about to get your first paycheck if you haven't already by the time you listen to this. And, you're one of 26 paychecks in. So just review all that stuff and make sure it's the way that you want. And the other challenge that I give to everybody when it comes to taxes, for some reason, there's been this trend of people going like, oh, it's so cool to like file my taxes in August. It's so awesome. Don't worry, I have an extension. It'll be fine. I like totally do it later. Stop. Like, do your friggin' taxes now. Like, get it over with. Like,
extensions are 2025. We're kicking extensions. To the curb.
I can add that into the list. But
that was a really good fashion voice, OG.
Did you like
do
it?
That more frequently, please?
Yes, I will. The entire show, from every show from now on, will be like that. But I don't know. I mean, I get it. Like, there's some things you have to wait for, right? You can't. Some documents don't come or whatever it is, what it is. But if you're just one of those people that is procrastinating for no reason to procrastinate, like, don't. Get that stuff in. CPA is overwhelmed. Don't dump it on them on April 9th and expect to get your refund, your return done. Get done.
Jesse, OG laid down a few of the things, but when you were thinking 2026 is the year of reviewing your taxes, what was on your mind there?
I mean, just here we are. We're a bunch of finance nerds, right? I mean, that's why we're all here talking. That's why the stackers are here listening. If you're really going to be a personal finance nerd, at least having a finger on the pulse of your taxes is going to be a pretty important skill. And so simply like, if you can look over your 1040 tax return when it comes back to you and go through it line by line and convince yourself you understand what's going on there, I think that's a terrific little arrow to have in your personal financial planning quiver. And yeah, and part of it is because of some of these new changes, like some of the ones that OG mentioned. And sometimes it's just to convince yourself that you understand how those numbers flow through your tax return. So that's all I was saying. I think it's the kind of thing that most people, they can learn a lot about personal finance. Their budget's under control. They know what's going on in their portfolio. And taxes tend to be maybe one of the later things, if ever. Like Paula said, like it's probably never going to be in vogue. So some people just never really get a handle on it. And I think that's just so unfashionable now. I think fashion is changing. Taxes are changing. Taxes
this year. Taxes are cool. Well, tax avoidance is cool, right? Not paying a lot of
in
tax.
some jurisdictions, it's pretty cool.
Some jurisdictions more than others. It's funny because some people, Paula, I know, get intimidated by all this tax talk, right?
Mhm.
Especially if they're new to this idea. When did you start getting comfortable with diving into what Jesse and OG have been talking about, and you've been talking about? How do you start getting comfortable with, okay, here's some tax moves that could be in vogue for me in 2026?
There are tax moves that you make throughout the year, but then there's also just the filing the taxes, right? So the tax moves throughout the year, I like to think of it as a game. Backdoor Roth contributions, maxing out your HSA. I mean, like, it's like playing a game and scoring a few extra points here and there. I think if you frame it in that regard, where like, let's see how close I can get to hitting the max. Let's see how close I can get to X or Y or Z. I think that makes those moves throughout the year more engaging and more fun. But then there's the administrative component, which I really struggle with a lot. It's the gathering and organizing paperwork. And I don't have a great solution for that because it truly, if you're a very distractible person as I am, paperwork is sort of the bane of my existence. What I do, I'll give myself a deadline. I will typically dedicate a weekend day. I don't try to fit it into the crevices. I'll give myself a full day, and that's just what I'm doing that day. And I try to anchor that day with like maybe a nice dinner out at the end of the day or something like that. But like, it's just one day of like
Hell.
Yeah. One day of hell. And you rip the Band-Aid off, you swallow the medicine, you're done.
You've used all of the most disgusting analogies in that, Paula. Can I just urge you to rethink how you're framing that discussion? Because Band-Aids and crevices, no.
Knuckle down.
Making taxes sound as bad as they are.
You know, it's funny. I found a different way that I solved this, Paula, because I always hate that day. Like I've always hated the one day where I'm really diving in there. So what I did the last few years is picked one day a month and just went through it for like an hour, one day a month. And then when I got to January, it was almost all done. Like everything was already in place and I didn't have to, oh my God, I loved it so much. It was a fun way to handle it. But I'm like you, I don't want to do it. I don't want anything to do with all this paperwork and stuff. Oh, yuck. OG, let's talk finance and fashion. What was 2025 that we need to kick to the curb?
It was so hot last year. Lifestyle creep. Spending willy-nilly.
DoorDash was off the hook.
Oh, I mean, it was just, who cares what the categories say in Monarch? I'll just spend as I want. Knew this, knew that. It was so awesome, but not in 2026.
We'll get back to your 2026 solution, but Jesse, did you feel the income or the expense creep monster in 2025? All this fashionista, it's so cool to spend.
I mean, maybe a tiny bit on a personal level, but at least on the anecdotal level, yeah. I mean, this is bordering on one of my fashion notes that I took down in my pre-show thinking session. Was it the anecdotal thought is that, yeah, it just seems like a lot of people are spending a lot of money. And some of the stories you hear from the personal finance community is, hey man, 600,000 isn't what it once used to be. I'm barely making ends meet.
Right.
And like, I think of that. I'm like, man, I know some cities are more expensive than others for sure. Don't get me wrong, but that's still a lot of money. Anyway, you cut the cake. So I think OG's on.
And you got to pay taxes on top of that.
I just think about, I saw your lovely holiday picture that you had with your family. And I just think that as your daughter gets older, I don't know, for you, Doug, for me, I felt like spending got out of control. My kids turned like 7, 8. It just, all of a sudden I'm on this rocket ship.
Those are the rough years. Absolutely. Kind of early grade school through kind of mid high school. It gets rough in there. Tough to, and talk about creep. I was just thinking about this during the holiday seasons with that, because when the kids are young, you feel like you want to fill up under the tree because of the joy that you see on their faces when they've got all that stuff. And those gifts are usually a little, or can be a little less expensive, but as they get older, to fill up under the tree, the gifts get more expensive. And we finally just dialed it back this year. I mean, the creep that happens when kids are young. Oh, I should rephrase that. The spending creep.
There you go.
Is
like a Simpsons episode I just saw.
Thank you.
Pretty easy to happen when the kids are. I'm going to just stop talking.
Please
Jesse,
do.
I'll throw it over to you.
Please do. I want to keep a clean rating on this one. Paula, there's another thing that was so 2025. I mean, living in New York City. And when I came to visit you just over a year ago, like just the cost of going to a restaurant. We went to a cool restaurant. We went to a nice little like relaxed club afterwards. That was really fun.
Oh yeah, the Brandy Library.
Yeah, but the cost of living in the city and enjoying yourself, that can be some lifestyle creep really fast.
It can be. New York specifically is a funny bird because most people don't own a car. And if you primarily use public transit, then your transportation costs are almost nothing. And I think that, for a lot of people, especially people who live in major cities, where the cost of housing is high, but you are still required to own a car because it's still a car-dependent place, those people get hit. They get the 1-2 punch of high housing costs and high transportation costs. Whereas in New York, you get the high housing costs, and restaurants and groceries and things like that are a bit more than what you would find in Texarkana, but you do get that relief with transit. So I think it balances out.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you'll take the subway or the bus, which I remember you found that out fairly early on, that like Uber will eat you alive in New York City.
Yeah, I love the bus. It's like an Uber, but for $3. It's like a $3 Uber that takes you anywhere you want to go. But I say that only because buses are so there's so many of them. You can get them so quickly. Like they're pretty much as efficient as taking an Uber. So there's a big time trade-off there. And again, I think that's where the discrepancy between New York and other cities comes in.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So OG, that's 2025. Keeping up with the Joneses, spend. What's the hot new fashion you're introducing for 2026?
Oh, the 2026 new line of spending is very, very, very sexy. It's spending on purpose.
What?
It's paying attention to every dollar for a little bit of time. We just had this discussion at our house. We are going to test out, I will report back, but we are going to test out if we want to have a night out, we have to go get the food. So no delivery. You have to pick it up yourself. I already know social media is the devil, but I'm pretty close to saying DoorDash and Uber Eats are the devil. also.
I think so too.
OG, I'm not clear. Is spending on purpose high-waisted? Because I look great in those, in the high-waisted.
Can be. Yeah.
Spending.
Yeah. I mean, you can get them tailored however you want. Yep.
We always talk about Doug getting wasted.
High and wasted at the same time. Whatever.
Well, yeah, I also had a clarification for OG because it sounded like he said, when you want to have a night out, you have to go pick up your food. So do you guys consider driving to a restaurant to pick up food? Is that a night out? Like, is that your social,
no, I'm saying like
fun social activity?
No. I'm saying like
drive to Chili's. It's a night out.
I mean,
then we'll drive back home 5 minutes later.
Drive back home. No, I'm saying like just eliminating the food delivery stuff, because the markup and like, how bad do you want it? How bad?
Have you ever tried Public Bus Eats? It's not Uber Eats. It's Public Bus Eats.
You just get your food and ride around on a $3 bus.
Some random person on a bus drops off food at your house like 90 minutes later.
Yeah, we don't have that service.
In all seriousness, have you had somebody do that to you on a plane? Where they get in with, apparently they ran through the airport and at the last minute they grab
They're
McDonald's.
like sardines, of course.
Yes. And then they right. And then they sit down right next to you.
I mean, that doesn't really happen to me when I fly, but
Right, of course. We're not going to hear about that from OG, Doug. We're not going to hear about change of habits when he's riding around in his plane.
Transportation costs are a little extreme. I will cop to that.
Oh, Andy Mom says DoorDash is definitely a budget buster. My husband DoorDashing ice cream. Can you imagine DoorDashing ice cream?
Well, I was telling you guys a couple of months ago, we are just outside the range of the drone delivery. There's a place up north of us and it's just kind of moving further south and, in terms of its range. At my friend's house just north of us, we did air deliver ice cream and it was still cold. It came in like a little cooler thing. And it was like 9 minutes. It was less time to get it via that than it was to like actually go out and get it. But I think it was like, whatever, $50 or something stupid to get like a bunch of little ice cream things for all the people at the party. So that's the point. It's like the convenience of it is, I'm challenging the convenience factor versus the exponential cost increase. Like, how bad do you want the ice cream? Like, I'm not saying that you can't go get $50 ice cream. I'm saying if you're going to go get $50 ice cream, like
go get it.
Go get your ass some $50 ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. But nope. The challenge is in having to put on pants
and then bring it back home and
go get it.
At least go through a drive-through on your own. Wear slippers. It's okay.
Kevin Bailey, who is the amazing writer of our 201, hanging out with us live on YouTube, along with some other fun stackers. And he said, these are the newest fashion moves. Sign up for the 201 newsletter. Its writer is so hot right now, said the writer. Check out the SB Vault to get your financial house in order and check out the Stacking Benjamins guides. That's 2026 right there. You know what else is 2026, guys? At the halfway point, this was 2025 too. We transitioned to our year-long trivia competition, but this year we got some changes. We are changing up the game a little bit. We've been doing this game now since 2013-ish, I think, 2013, 2014. Time for a change. And so the rules committee, AK Neighbor Doug and I, got together and we have come up with some changes to the competition. So if you're new here, we have a year-long trivia competition where we ask our panelists a ridiculous question that you will always never know the answer to. Sometimes they get it, but usually they don't. And then whoever's closest gets the point for the week. And at the end of the year, we award a trophy. Jesse is our reigning champion. OG's been a champion a number of years. Paula is someday. Have
I been doing this since 2013 and have never won once?
I have no idea.
I think that might, if any longtime listeners know otherwise, but I think that might be the case.
This is like remember how the Boston Red Sox had that curse forever, the curse of the babe? It's like maybe when Greg McFarland left the show a long time ago, he cursed you, Paula. I don't know. Like something, who knows?
Have I lost for 13 consecutive years? Well, I guess it would have been 12 consecutive years. This would be lucky 13.
Your resilience is inspiring. Really.
This is. All right. So those rules stay intact. We're still going to have Paula will get to guess last today because she finished last year. OG will go in the middle and Jesse has to guess first. But we have a couple of changes. We had a half point last year because Jesse and Paula were on both sides of the number. We didn't have a rule, so we called it half a point each. There will be no half points in 2026. In the case of a tie, we're going to Price is Right rules, which is the one that was under it wins. Paula?
Closest without going over.
Yes.
First of all, I'm flattered that new legislation has been passed due to me and Jesse. That's a first. I've never triggered that before. However, now that this new legislation is passed, it is subject to judicial review. And I have a question as to how strict the interpretation is. Is it because the rule is, are we going by the letter of the law or the spirit of the law?
I don't
Because
know what you mean.
Case by case basis, and I'll decide when we get
because
there.
the rule is no half point. The rule is not no fractional point.
I'll give you 2/3 of a point here, Paula. Let me have the last third.
No,
Let's
I'll
move
give
on.
you. I would like to donate to you 2/3
You
of a
cannot
point.
gift points.
No,
You
zero.
cannot get what the hell's going on here?
I also had a different memory. I thought the half point had to do with you guys getting the answer wrong,
Easy.
thinking
Well,
that Paula got it right live, and then after the fact realizing that I got it right.
Yeah,
is-
I agree.
that is a horrible
That is-
memory.
that is what
Probably
happened.
wrong.
Is that fake news?
I would say it's probably wrong.
I agree with Jesse.
I can't imagine a world where we would get the trivia thing wrong. Perry Joe Jim Bob said we should just give everybody a participation award. Why don't we do that? We just skip the segment all year long. We have another rule though. This is the big rule change this year. Each of you are going to get once a quarter. You can send a margin call out. So a margin call, for those of you new to stocks, is where you get this call from your broker going, hey, guess what? You got to pony up some money. Well, in this case, you're ponying up part of your stack. You are ponying up part of your point. So you have to have a margin call against somebody who has a point. That is rule number one. They have to have a positive point value. Then as Doug's reading the question, the first person to say margin call, and you have to have one available. So you can say it right in the middle of Doug's question, margin call. We'll stop the question. You will say who the margin call is going to be against. And if that person doesn't win, they lose a point that week. But if they do get it right and you put pressure on them, you lose a point that week. And that is how the margin call works. Use it carefully because you only get one per quarter. Don't wait till the last week because if all three of you are screaming at once, it's just going to be whoever the first person is that we hear. And obviously, Doug and I are going to decide who we heard first.
Or the one who has pissed us off the least.
So margin calls, we're going to have some margin calls there. So there will be no margin calls today because nobody has a point yet. So maybe next week, whoever gets it right this week could have a margin call against them to have that point taken back again next week. So we'll see what happens with those new rules in effect. But for week number one, we're going to get the show on the road. We need a trivia question. And Doug, you've got some big doings today. We're celebrating a birthday.
We sure are, and a whole musical movement, Joe. Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and I know all of you wait for the sweet sounds of my mellifluous tenor during trivia every Friday, which is why today we're celebrating the birthday of jazz and soul singer Sade. Born in 1959, she's known for Benjamin stacking hits like Smooth Operator and No Ordinary Love, both of which I'm said to have inspired. Today also marks another Jazz Meets Money Day in history. For the first time, Benny Goodman brought jazz to Carnegie Hall. While today jazz is known as a classic sound in music, back when the idea of performing at Carnegie Hall was introduced, Goodman laughed it off. He thought, they're never going to let that happen. So here's today's question. In what year did Benny Goodman bring his jazz concert to Carnegie Hall for the first time? I'll be back right after I go fire up some Sade on Joe's mom's record player.
Oh, I love the old crackly sound of the record player. Jesse Kramer, Benny Goodman at Carnegie Hall. I know that that's Benny Goodman, your favorite. You listen to Benny Goodman nonstop on Spotify, I'm sure.
Right? I feel like I know some like old jazzy people. I'm not sure I know Benny Goodman. So that's where I think to myself, is Benny Goodman from before my time or before the time of the people who I do know, you know, like the Louis Armstrong types. So I'm going to say Benny Goodman's so old, I've never heard of him. And therefore the year was 1924.
1924. If my pen worked, I'd write it down.
I also didn't know that's how you pronounce Sade. Is that like a silent R? Isn't it? It is. Okay.
It is.
Yes.
Sade.
Absolutely. Yep.
Never knew that.
Sade. Get it right.
Right? Sadie.
1924. Og. If we want to pronounce it Sade, we should probably pronounce it Og. What year did Benny Goodman play Carnegie Hall?
Well, I think there's some nuance here. Carnegie Hall was named after John Carnegie, who didn't die until 1930 something, like during the Depression sometime. So I doubt they would have named something for him while he was alive. You know, like the Kennedy Center. It's weird that they're renaming it, but that guy's still alive.
Let's keep going.
But anyways, it doesn't happen very often is what I guess I'm saying. So I don't like 1924, but I got to give Paula something to work with here. So I'm going to say 1939, slightly after John's death is when, you know, we're still bebopping. It's maybe the beginning of still roaring 20s music still, but old Johnny Boy is still warm in the ground. And they just named it that. And here comes, what did you guys say the guy's name was?
Benny Goodman.
Benny, yeah.
Benny Goodman.
He shows up in 1939.
Orchestra. All right, Paula, you've got 1924 and 1939. You're a big Benny Goodman fan.
Yeah, I definitely know who that is. You know, when I first heard the question, even before Jesse gave his answer, the number that popped into my head was 1923. I think the reason it popped into my head was because I was sort of imagining like beginning of the roaring 20s, you know, before the great crash of 1929, before all of that began. It just seemed like a good time to go out and listen to some music. So I'm going to go with 1923.
23, she takes the under.
Do you want to follow your gut this year, Paula?
I know, right?
13 years of following her gut. What could go wrong, Jesse? What could go wrong?
Just saying.
No idea. All right. The ballots have been cast. Let's see who wins this thing right after this. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
K-pop Demon Hunters, Haja Boys breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
All right. We kicked off our first week of trivia with a question about the Benny Goodman, who, Jesse, I know is your favorite of all time. 1924 was the year. You feeling pretty good now that Paula took away the under?
No, yeah. I mean, I wasn't feeling great before. Now I'm feeling about half as not great as I was. That half of my chance is gone. I also, well, I'll save my second point until we find out what the answer is. I've got a concern, but we'll go for the, I'll wait for the end.
You don't think it was named after John Carnegie, who died in 1930 something?
I was just going to say, I had some questions about that one.
I think that was all made up.
I said it with such confidence, though, Jesse.
Correct. So now, if OG ends up being right for all those stupid reasons, I'm going to protest this entire year.
Because he made up all his facts?
Yeah, it's right. It's Andrew Carnegie.
No, it's his long lost brother, John. I'm telling you. Old Johnny boy. I couldn't remember what the guy's
He rode the
first
bus
name
around
was.
New York City. They named the hall after him.
OG, 1939. Feeling good?
Not in the least bit.
No idea. And then Paula's a big fan. I do know that Benny Goodman, he was known to play the clarinet, right? I think he played back when clarinet was a thing in these jazz music clubs. I mean, don't get me wrong, clarinet's still a thing, but he was like leading songs with a clarinet, right, Doug?
He was the original nerd with the clarinet. Yeah.
Wow.
Hot take.
I have a question. Will the winner of this year's competition get a cake?
I don't know. You know, what's funny is that we did not talk to Eric, who donated the cake in previous years until this last year was over. So Jesse,
Eric, hit me up, man.
Jesse kind of got.
Jesse didn't get a cake?
It's like, wait, there was cake.
Oh, man, you missed out, bro. Those were great.
Yeah. So I don't know if Eric or somebody else is listening that wants to donate a cake this year, we can put that on the table as well, or whatever else you might have.
You know what
for
goes
the
well
winning.
with cake is a nice, tight-fitting pair of Levi jeans.
I thought you were going to say DoorDash ice cream.
That too.
All the above. All right.
Drone cream.
Paula, you feeling good with 1923?
I am feeling
Your
good
gut
with
said it was
1923.
right. Why not trust your gut? Who cares if you, even if it hasn't worked for this long, who
Just
cares?
probabilistically, random chance says that at some point.
At some point, right. By the way, Andrea hanging out with us. The cake is a lie. I don't know if anybody knows that reference, but
yes.
Well done.
Reference.
Well done,
Cake
Andrea.
is a lie indeed.
All right. Doug, who's taking home the week 1 trophy for this year's competition?
Hey there, stackers. I'm Sade, appreciator and smooth operator, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. To celebrate Sade's birthday and those smooth jazz sounds, we're talking about the date when jazz legend Benny Goodman brought his jazz orchestra to Carnegie Hall, a place that until that day, it had seemed ludicrous that the now iconic musical sound would be played in that hallowed hall. However, it was a huge hit. And now jazz is considered cultured music, a big change from those times. So what year did Benny Goodman first play Carnegie Hall? Well, I'm not going to tell you the answer straight up, but I will tell you it was 15 years after
Margin
Paula
call, Doug.
guessed.
This should have been written into the rules. Doug has to have a new way of saying who wins. This is so 2025.
It was 14 years after Jesse guessed and just 1 year sooner than OG guessed, because the correct answer is 1938, making OG our winner.
John Carnegie gets that point, not OG.
Oh, Johnny C is he like to be called back in the day?
Was that right after he died, OG?
He was still warm in the ground when they finally named it after him.
Fictitious person passed away. Hey, and Paula,
Wild ass guess.
It's a warm-up. That's all right. This is a warm-up.
The good news is next week you can margin call OG because he has a point.
Boom.
So there
It's
it
a
goes.
setup, OG.
All right, back to our discussion about Fashion Week, and let's go in reverse order this time. OG, you went last time, so let's have you go first, kick off the second half of this discussion. What's another thing that was super 2025 that we want to kick to the curb?
Super 2025 as it relates to money is just looking at one area or focusing on one thing as it relates to your overall financial picture. I think is so 2025, whether it's taxes, whether it's your investments, just focusing on one thing. It's just so old. Get over it.
Paula, you and I had this discussion earlier today. People being so myopic, just really, we nerd out so much, especially financial nerds, in one area that we don't think we know enough. And yet, if we broaden the view a little bit, we could do much, much better.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of instances of the tax tail wagging the decision dog. There are a lot of instances of people getting so hung up on, let's say, asset allocation that they're not thinking about making more contributions. You can over-focus on some element of financial planning and miss the forest for the trees.
Why do you think that is, Jesse? Do you think it's because we tend to focus on what we're good at, or we think it's overwhelming, so we just pick one? Why do you think we do exactly what OG's talking about?
Well, I think one way to answer the question is just because like investing is the cool, sexy thing. Talking about fashion, like investing is Victoria's Secret. And you know who doesn't get nearly as much press as Victoria's Secret is like darn tough socks. They're not nearly as cool as Victoria's Secret, but a good pair of socks. You know what I'm saying, Doug? You know what darn tough socks are, Mr. Northern Michigan. Do you have a pair?
Oh,
I'm wearing some right now.
That's a fine product.
And don't get me wrong, it's not that Doug isn't wearing Victoria's Secret too.
Correct. You can have both. And that is the message here is you can wear your, negligee and have thick woolly socks on at the same time. In fact, some would say it's a better experience that way. I digress. Now, I had a listener question. This made me think of a listener question I just got. And it's really simple. Is a portfolio and a financial plan the same? Like, what a good question. But part of it is like when most of us say the term financial planning, it's like, right, a lot of the population probably don't even really know what that means.
Right.
So sometimes it's just going back to that basics, the building blocks, the foundation, and explaining what we mean when we say things like that.
How many times have we heard people say in the community, just say, I don't think I need a financial planner because I buy index funds.
Right.
You're dealing with one little sliver of what a financial plan is. I think that's pretty wild. So, OG, how do we make it all dovetail in 2026 then? How do we get more big picture in 2026?
I'm just going back to darn tough socks. I need to Google that.
Yeah, maybe they can be a sponsor.
And when you do, you will buy some.
I don't know. I like Bombas. I've got Bombas.
Another good option.
I got Smart Wool. I'm a big Smart Wool guy.
I did Smart Wools for a while too.
I have Quince.
Quince. Yep. Everybody, it's all the rage. So the question was, what's 2026? 2026 is, layers. It's layers. It's not just all Quince. It's a little Viore. It's a little Bombas. It's a little bit darn tough. It's a little Quince. It's like, putting a little bit of everything on. It's paying attention to all the different areas, even the not sexy ones, like your freaking estate plan or your stupid insurance or, cash reserve, or maybe pay off your debt, or those sorts of things.
Some financial planners, OG, maybe you were the one that even told me this. They will, during their client meetings, focus on one of the areas of financial planning and like make time for each one. Was that you talking about that?
Yeah. That's what we do in our planning process for clients is, the CFP board says there's 6 different areas, 7 if you count behavior, which, okay, fine, whatever, but 6 main ones, in my opinion. And I think it's important to allocate time to each one of those, even if it's nothing more than just going, I looked at it like Paula was, or Jesse, maybe you're talking about with taxes, like going through it and going, okay, this is right. This is right. This is good. This okay. All right. I'm good. On insurance, it's making sure that you got the right amounts and the beneficiaries are correct. If you go through each one of those every 6 months, or one of those every 6 months, it takes you 3 years to go through the cycle. There's a lot of stuff that can happen in 3 years. I mean, there's a lot of changes that can happen over the next, in 3 years from now, we'll be in the last year before 2030. Right?
Shut up.
Yeah.
Whoa.
How about that?
Keep
Put
that to yourself.
in your pipe and smoke it.
Wow.
Just imagine though, if you said every year of your financial plan, I check every 3 years, which sounds kind of complicated. It's almost like Paula making the day for your taxes because you hate doing it. How often do you want to talk about your estate planning? If you just do it once every 3 years by making it part of this cycle, now estate planning taken care of. Pretty cool.
And read it. When was the last time you read your estate plan?
Every night when I'm trying to get to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
It is so thrilling. Jesse, let's kick something else from 2025 to the curb. What's next on your list?
So speaking of hot things, I think, we've had some pretty hot years in terms of comfortable employment numbers and really supportive capital markets. Inflation's coming down. We've had reasonably low interest rates in the historical sense. And while I don't know if this is going to go out of style in 2026 or not, but I'm preparing for the day when some of those things start to go out of style. Everything goes out of style eventually, including some economic things. So yes, that hotness will eventually end. And just like, hey, I'm high school class of 2008. There was a time when I know that.
Hold up. Wait, what?
Yeah. High school class of 2008.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What were you guys doing in 2008? Other than, applying for AARP.
Oh my God.
I was high school class of 2008.
I didn't say anything and I keep getting.
Hey, you're here. I'm sorry.
And I hate him.
But I remember, some of my late 2000s sisters, the whale tails were, sticking up from the back of their low-waisted jeans. They thought it was a good look. I'll be honest, I can be a little nostalgic for that look, but eventually everyone will be wearing a pair of pants that ends up at their rib cage with some granny panties underneath. That's just the way that fashion trends ebb and flow. So anyway, were we talking about personal finance before?
I don't even know. What is your 2025 point? Has he made one yet?
I think wide leg jeans.
Sometimes bull markets will end. Sometimes our wonderful job numbers we enter a recession, right? We have negative GDP. We have bad job numbers. Inflation can go up. And my point is that we've all, in my opinion, a lot of people have got complacent with how wonderful maybe the stock market has been for the past few years. And I'm just saying that will go out of style eventually. I don't know when, but it will go out of style eventually, even if only temporarily. And I want our stackers to be prepared for that eventuality.
It is pretty wild, Paula. I mean, just to think that so too this must end. And yet, whenever it does, we always seem to be so damn surprised.
Generally speaking, the market goes up more years than it goes down. So just probabilistically, any one random year, the market is more likely to go up. And I think when you take that and you couple it with recency bias, when the market has gone up, and you couple that with maybe some optimism bias, it creates a perfect storm for really believing that, as I think some people are starting to, believing that the market is a high yield savings account, which of course it is not.
Is it optimism bias, though, if you have a long-term view, a good thing?
Yes, it is because, if you're a perma bull, you have statistical probability on your side.
Yeah.
Versus if you're a perma bear, you don't.
Yeah. Perma bears got to call their shot. Mm-hmm. OG, it is interesting when you look at the stock markets. I mean, how many times do you and I get asked the question, will the stock market go down? And your answer invariably is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna
come down.
With all that enthusiasm I can muster.
Do you think there's a bad day coming, OG? Is there a bad day coming?
If my back doesn't get fixed in the next couple of hours before I go to bed, tomorrow's going to be a bad day.
Oh, that's not good.
Jesse doesn't know this. So this is one of the benefits of getting old. Like, you literally will wake up with a back spasm at 5 a.m. and you're just up then. That's just when you wake up. It's time for coffee and watching the news and the Weather Channel, because that's the time you get to wake up.
And holding your breath on every inhale.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the party, pal.
A friend of mine posted recently that, when you were a kid, you fell out of a tree or you fell off your bike and that's how you got skinned up. Now you just woke up funny.
You sneezed.
Got out of bed too fast. You sneezed. It's a whole different world.
How did you pull your back out? Were you rock climbing El Capitan? Oh, close. I rolled onto my shoulder from my back.
Yeah.
And I didn't have my support pillow with me. So
either that or El Capitan. It could have been either. Could have been either one. Maybe a little bit of both. Jesse, how are we solving this? What's the big thing we're doing in 2026 then? What's the new and improved?
I really appreciated both what Paula and OG there said, because the answer is not to become a perma bear. And what you said, Joe, not you, Doug. I appreciated everything you guys said. Not you, Doug, just to be clear. But the answer is not to become a perma bear, right? It's simply to find that maybe more of a realist position where you say, right, I invest in stocks for the long run, not because they go up every year guaranteed, because they don't do that. They're not the high yield savings account that Paula mentioned. But over the long run, I believe that they're an asset where I want to put my long-term dollars. So it's just kind of tempering that perma bull, certainly not becoming a perma bear and ending up somewhere in between.
How about in 2026, we're finally going to match the time frame with the investment type? That would be craziness, wouldn't it?
Some asset liability matching.
That'd be craziness.
Mm-hmm.
Paula, let's finish this off. So all the models are out, and then the big finale. Give us the big last kicking this 2025 trend to the curb.
So I think 2025 was a year of a lot of pessimism around housing and real estate, both from the buyer and the seller side. Buyers weren't buying, which meant sellers weren't selling. So everybody was having a bad year. People felt locked in. People who were already homeowners who bought their homes prior to 2022 felt locked into their low interest mortgage. So there's a lack of mobility because of the lock-in effect. People who wanted to sell were selling into a market where there weren't a lot of buyers because housing prices have gone up so much, plus the housing prices plus the interest rates packed that 1-2 punch, which scared a lot of buyers out of the market. So then even the sellers who wanted to sell were finding that their properties weren't moving. Meanwhile, buyers, a lot of them felt priced out of the market because home prices have gone up. because interest rates are high and because there's the expectation that interest rates are going to decrease relatively soon. So nobody wants to get the mortgage, lock into a mortgage that you are just going to have to refi in a year. So it was a really bad year for housing transactions.
I am interested to see how you take this thing that to me seems pretty damn systemic and you turn over a new leaf. We're going to fix all that in 2026 because I know, OG, even Dave Ramsey, who never talks about government programs, was like, this is an area where maybe we need the government to come in and fix it. I was like, what the hell? Even Ramsey saying that these big companies going in and buying tons of real estate is kind of helping the market suck.
Well, I mean, I certainly can't speak intelligently about that, but I do know anecdotally some other weird things like Zillow buying their own stuff and like propping up the price. And I've heard stories of that sort of thing. I think the answer to this is being okay with where you are, not necessarily where your neighbors are or where you think you deserve to be, because I deserve to have this thing. And it's not fair that these people got to have this experience in 2021 and I didn't because of insert whatever reason here. You are where you are. It's okay. Some people want to own houses, some don't. Some people should own houses, some shouldn't. Some people should have big fancy houses, some people should have smaller ones. There's no right answer. The reason that you have this hierarchy in your brain is because of you. It's not because, obviously it's because of social pressure too, but that's letting those things bother you. The way that you solve this is saying, I can afford a $300,000 house on today's interest rates. Not saying, well, that's BS. I should be able to get a $600,000 house because my friend got one 5 years ago. It's like, okay, well, that's how it was 5 years ago. That's just, there was a lot of other crazy shit going on 5 years ago too, just to remind you, it wasn't all like rainbows and lollipops. It was a little bit of crazy also.
What's that old Jack Welch line you're talking about then? Face reality the way it is, not the way you wish it or hoped it could be.
That's okay. I don't know that one, but it's just kind of a resetting maybe of where you are and being okay with where you are, I guess. There's, trust me, out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 of us here. I guess I'm counting myself. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4. The screen's set up a little differently on my side, so I see you guys a little different. And I was like, wait, am I on the screen? Am I counting myself? Out of the 5 of us, trust me, I've got the FOMO more than anybody, right? Like I have a wish list of you wouldn't believe. And in some ways that's healthy because it gives me some drive and inspiration for the future. But too much of that can be detrimental also. And you could just have this like pity party of like, woe is me. And then you don't get anything done.
Watching on social media, all these people that are supposedly living a better life than you. And
half of it's AI, man. It's
right.
Like, there's some funny stuff on with AI now. I'm liking people's creativity on comedy with AI. And that is making my day. So keep that coming.
They're getting pretty good.
Be where you are. How's that? That's how you solve it.
Well, but Jesse, there's some people that in 2026, they want to buy a house. And while OG's like, be okay with where you are and just don't move when the system's all locked up, how do I begin saving for what is now feels like a ginormous down payment to get that first house if there's no intergenerational wealth in my family?
I mean, that's a tough question. I'm not sure exactly how to answer. I don't think there's a silver bullet, right? I mean, that's the kind of question, Joe, where it's like, it'd be nice if there was a silver bullet answer that doesn't sound like, it's kind of like someone saying, how do I really get in shape? I feel like I'm surrounded by unhealthy food choices and I've gained weight every year for the last, how do I get in shape? It's like, well, you start eating broccoli and you start working out in Paula's podcast studio, the gym in her apartment building.
That's right.
Yeah. Like my doctor said, my last physical in August, I was like, I feel like I'm having some success, but not some success. And I said, what do you think? And he goes, eat more or less.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Right.
And he's like, eat more, less. Like, how you're like, oh, I should have more of that? Do that less. Like a lot less.
Perfect.
And the funny thing is,
okay.
The silver bullet, it's like, if anything, 2025 showed us that there maybe is a silver bullet in terms of food and diet, and it's called GLP drugs or whatever they are, right? GLP-1. I'm not sure there's a silver bullet here to save more money for that down payment for your house when housing prices seem to just be running away from you.
Shane hanging out with us says, enter the 50-year mortgage. I mean, if you want to buy a house and you're tired of renting, is a 50-year mortgage a good thing then, Jesse?
I don't think so, because I remember, I don't know if we talked about it here, but it's like depending on your interest rate, I think a 50-year mortgage reduces your monthly payment by like 3 or 4% compared to a 30-year mortgage. I don't think a 50-year mortgage is the answer.
Not that big a difference.
No.
Bummer. Let's wrap this up then by getting Paula's shot in the arm. You brought up something that to me sounded pretty systemic. Hey, properties aren't moving. How are we fashioning this up to be hot 2026?
Yeah. Well, specifically, I said that the thing of 2025 was the pessimism around it.
Be optimistic about the fact that nobody's buying houses.
Well, I think so. In 2026, first, there are a lot of variables that we don't know. We don't know, we know that the unemployment rate is 4.6% coming into 2026, which may or may not trigger the Fed to lower interest rates, to have a few more rate cutting cycles. We don't know how many more rate cutting cycles are ahead of us or how low interest rates are going to go. Like all of that is to be determined over the course of this upcoming year. We have seen some price softening in more than 40 out of the 50 major metros. We don't know if that's going to continue. Like there are a lot of variables that we don't know, but all of those variables point to a more buyer and by extension seller friendly market relative to where we were in 2025. So there's some room for cautious optimism. But with that said, I do think to your question earlier about like, what's the solution? Is there a silver bullet? Getting creative, house hacking, buy a duplex instead of a single family home, co-purchase with another family, or get a roommate or / Airbnb type of situation. Like those are some of the things that even back pre-pandemic people were doing. But I think we're entering an era where more people might need to do that in order to be able to get into that first home.
If you think creatively, I love that part. I just really like that part. And you know what? That's not just real estate. I think that's a lot of your financial plan. Like when you think you can't do something, think a little bit more creatively. What's a way that I could make this happen? We got such a great year that we just kicked off today, Roundtable. Can't wait to see what happens with you guys in the trivia and love your suggestions for 2026. Speaking of, let's see what's going on with you this early week in 2026. By the way, before I ask OG, we're going to start with you. Before we ask you what you got coming on this weekend, I just want to say congratulations are in order to Mr. OG. His firm, Bannerman Wealth, he had no idea that Newsweek was doing a listing of top personal financial planning practices in the country. And OG's firm was among those top firms in the USA. So to even be on that list, great job.
Yeah. I hope it's okay, OG. I gave them the passwords to your company files so they could look through and do the evaluation. I hope that was cool. But I wanted you to get the recognition.
Totally fine. Yeah, so many of those are, for lack of a better term, pay to play. And somebody had sent it to me. So it wasn't anything that we applied for or bought the plaque. Like, buy this plaque and we'll put you on this list.
Who's who?
It was kind of a shock. I think, Doug, what did you say when I texted it to you? Did you say it was
is that a coach's poll or a writer's poll?
I thought that was kind of cute, but it's a cool thing to find out. Yeah, it just goes to show that being boring and doing the right thing over a long period of time for clients pays off.
So Andrea, hanging out with us here on YouTube, suggested that not only do we say the award-winning OG personal financial planning firm, but when we talk about them, we should also say, if you're looking for financial help in 2026, OG can count to five as well.
When not only are we award-winning, at 5 different faces and wondering if one of those is yours. Trying to figure that out.
Great job to you and Anna and the whole team. Just great stuff. What do you got going on this weekend, man?
Well, my wife and I are actually in the Cayman Islands right now. Believe it or not, it's going to be weird that I transport myself there. We go every year, this time of year, for Food and Wine Festival that they have down there, which is really cool.
Sounds so fun.
A little R&R after a vacation from the vacation. Kids are finally back in school.
Fantastic. Jesse Kramer, personal finance for long-term investors. What's on the docket here in early 2026?
Well, we're coming off of a banner year in 2025. Maybe we can call that now a Bannerman year, evoking excellence. Yeah. I had a Bannerman year in 2025, and I'm hoping to continue the momentum into 2026. Started the year with an AMA episode all about retirement topics. And then I think next week or maybe the week after, I've got a fun one coming out. The loose draft name is Some Dumb Financial Moves That I'm 100% fine with.
Wow.
So that should be a fun episode too.
There's some clickbait right there. Dumb financial moves I'm fine. I like that title.
And don't be an idiot, invest in meme coins.
Paula Pant, way to start off the new year by losing trivia again. So
There's a certain comfort in continuity.
there is. It's like a warm blanket.
Exactly. Cozy winter with a warm blanket. Things are familiar. Things are predictable. Life feels safe because there is that continuity.
It was funny during the second half of today's show, Stacker Aaron hanging out with us on YouTube. And by the way, if you want to hang out with us while we make the show live, come join us Monday afternoons. And if you are a subscriber to the 201, we'll send you an email most weeks telling you when we're going live, or we try to put it in our Basement Facebook group as well. But Aaron said, sorry getting on late. Come on, Paula, you can win this year.
Aww.
But he didn't know you're already one behind by the time he said that.
That's okay. There's 52 weeks in a year.
There's only 51 to go.
Yeah, we got some time. Well, I mean, I don't think we do all 50. Probably at least 47 or 48.
Right. Yeah, Joe, when we do our rewind weeks, let's just make sure we pick a Friday episode where Paula actually got a point like 7 years ago.
Do you remember what that happened?
And then
you remember when this
like,
happened?
Right.
Everybody get the warm fuzzies for our greatest hits weeks. Paula, what's on the greatest hits of Afford Anything content this fine week?
So we've got Barry Ritholtz on the show.
I love that man.
Yes, Barry is incredible, so intelligent, wise. He talks about how not to invest. So if you would like to learn what not to do, how not to invest, all the things that people get wrong, Barry is such a role model, one of my absolute idols in the world of financial planning. And I cannot say enough positive things about him. Absolutely brilliant guy.
He was such a gentleman when I met him, and we had so much fun together. What strikes me about him, though, is that you can tell people by the people they're surrounded with. Mm-hmm. And so many phenomenal people work for Barry Ritholtz.
Yeah, Nick Majuli.
Yeah, Nick Majuli, Josh Brown, now his co-CEO, right? You've got all these big names that work with Barry, who came up in the world under Barry. That what a heck of a dude.
Exactly. He's a great guy who surrounds himself with great people.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's on Afford Anything this week. All right, we'll link to both of those in our show notes. Kevin will, who's here with us today on YouTube as well. Thanks, Kevin, for hanging out with us and for all you do on the 201. All right, Doug, you got it from here, man. What should we have learned on today's episode?
So what's stacked up on our to-do list for today? Well, first, take some advice from our team. While you don't have to keep up with all of the personal finance trends, knowing a little about how to tweak your portfolio to stay current will go a long, long way. Second, trivia competition? Sounds like this year's going to be a battle of wills between all three of these yahoos. I can't wait to see what happens as 2026 evolves. But the big lesson? Don't tell Joe's mom you're doing a trivia competition. Really, we've been doing it all these years and she's just now catching on. I had to keep muting the mic this whole time because she kept yelling downstairs, "You didn't phrase it as a question. Wrong show, Ma. You're thinking of the one hosted by that sexy Ken Jennings." Thanks to the Jesse Kramer for joining us today. Listen to his Personal Finance for Long-Term Investors podcast wherever you're hearing us now. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Thanks to Paula Pant for hanging out with us today. You'll find her fabulous podcast, Afford Anything, wherever you listen to the finest podcasts. And finally, thanks to OG for joining us. Looking for good financial planning help from an award-winning firm? Head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG for his calendar.
Say it again, Doug, but just a little slower this time.
This show is the property of SB Podcast, LLC, copyright 2026, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. And oh yeah, before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamins Show.
Ugh, That was so bad it locked up my computer.
Quick, let's get out of here before it finds the key. No, I mean it.
All right.